Alright, happy 2020 everybody. Meant to get this video out about a week or two ago, but got caught up with some things. Just my top 10 games for 2019. Now do keep in mind that I do the majority of my gaming on PC. I'm out of the loop on any of the PS4 exclusives or any of the Nintendo titles. I wish I had a Switch going on. There's a lot of Nintendo titles I wish I could get my hands on, like Smash Bros, Link's Awakening, all that. Even though I think Smash Bros was last 2018. Anyways, doesn't matter. So remember, this is all PC gaming. Just my favorite games to play. This isn't legit reviews. This is just all off the top of my head. So probably gonna say some wrong stuff. Take it all with a grain of salt. So again, thanks everybody that's hanging around, watching the videos. Gonna try and get some more content out at the beginning of this year. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Okay, so number 10 on the list is YookaLaylee and the Impossible Lair. Now, Platonic put out, I think, God, when did the first YookaLaylee or the original come out? I think that was 2017, 2018, probably 2017. But anyways, I honestly really enjoyed the first YookaLaylee. It was obviously the Banjo-Kazooie inspiration there from some of the original devs. It didn't receive the same critical acclaim as a game like A Hat in Time did. But nonetheless, I still liked it, and I'm really glad to see the Platonic hasn't given up on these characters. So they came out with a 2.5 platformer game, also a collectible as well. It has an overworld map. It's very similar to like Mario World 3, where you're constantly unlocking levels and progressing. And the levels themselves are awesome. Good design. The palette's really nice. The levels are long too. There's a lot to them. They're not short. So a lot of good content in this game. And yeah, probably one of my favorite platformers of the year. That's for sure. Okay, number 9 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Now, this game was directed by one of the more... Now, I'm kind of naive about everybody that's worked behind the Castlevania series, but from what I understand, that this is done by the original director for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is arguably... I know it's my favorite, that's for sure. So I never did back Bloodstained on Kickstarter, but I always did pay attention to it. I know it did go through a bit of a graphical overhaul and had some changes, which was probably the right thing to do, because this game came out making a lot of people happy. Again, the whole Metroidvania level design, it's all there. Graphics are really good. I like the look of the enemies. I think the biggest thing that surprised me was just how the amount of content, the amount of different type of weapons that you can approach. Very much like Symphony of the Night, so I think that was all to be expected. But the big thing that I thought was really cool was just being able to pull out the different abilities based on the different monsters that you encounter. All the bosses were great. They had a challenge, but I didn't feel like it was unfair. So really happy with Bloodstained. You can't recommend this game enough. Okay, so coming in at number 8 is Untitled Goosgame. Now, this game, I think a lot of people checked out, or at least have watched people play it. It's, it's really well done. It's charming as hell. I mean, you get to play as a goose, so that's a winner right there. And basically, all you're doing is you're causing problems for people. You're pulling pranks. You're trolling. It's awesome. It's very well thought out. Doesn't take long to beat, and it does have a harder difficulty when you do beat it as well. Or I shouldn't say harder difficulty, but basically more things to do. So really well done. And so it's actually kind of classified as like a puzzle stealth game, because you do have to do some stealth mechanics, dodging around the citizens of the town here. But the game is just hilarious. I mean, you're just laughing the whole time because it's just nothing but shtick. You're just constantly going around pulling pranks on people. So you gotta check it out. Absolutely. Okay, so coming in at number 7 is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I've only actually put in a couple hours on this game. However, I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to get it on this list, even though I haven't finished it. I haven't beaten the game. It's a game I want to get back to, but I think it's worth just a special mention because we got a good single-player Star Wars game again. With Star Wars being with EA for so long, it's been so hit or miss with the titles that they've been putting out, and I've always been such a big fan of Respawn Entertainment with their Titanfall series, so I was really happy to hear that they got their hands on doing a single-player Star Wars game. Now, what I was even more surprised with this game is I didn't really figure this out till the game was actually out, and I started playing it myself, that they really didn't market that this is very, or at least attempting to be a little bit Souls-like. I think if they marketed that a little bit heavier, I think it would have caught a lot more attention. However, it's very different than a Souls game, but it still does have a challenge to it. You need to... it is a 3D action game with some, you know, kind of light role-playing and some cosmetic elements. Game looks fantastic. You know, my obvious gripe with a lot of people is the no dismemberment of stormtroopers. And man, I'm not like some psycho that needs to cut people up, but just when you got a lightsaber, dude, it just makes it feel that much more powerful and just conveys how cool a lightsaber is. So that's kind of my big gripe with the game, is just the lack of dismemberment. I mean, granted, it is on the beasts and the robots, and I think that's great, but it just seems to kind of neuter what a lightsaber is about. That's a small detail on this game for how great it is, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it and finishing it. Okay, coming in on number 6 is Children of Morta. Now, I started playing this with a good friend of mine, and we loved it. The couch co-op was great. We really appreciated the type of character progression. Your characters always felt like they were a specific type of build, whether you're working towards like glass cannon, tank. The character choices were great. Now, it's essentially like a twin-stick shooter as well. It's very much a roguelike. So you're going to be dying, you're going to be getting your butt kicked. The game does have a challenge, but once you kind of wrap your head around all the mechanics and get your controls familiar, it becomes quite easy to progress and get through the levels. Artistically, just a beautiful game. I mean, there's so many roguelike dungeon crawler pixel art games out there, some great, some not so notable, but Children of Morta is well worth checking out. Again, artistically, it's just beautiful, whether it's the character animations or the central hub that you go back to upgrade and unlock further progression for your characters. The artwork is just fantastic. Yeah, again, even better with friends. I think you can play just one or two, get one other person on there, and well worth checking out. Children of Morta, don't miss it. Okay, so number 5 is Disco Elysium. Now, this game definitely isn't everybody's cup of tea. The majority of the game is reading, so you gotta want to be able to sit through a lot of dialogue. Now, the good thing is, though, this game has amazing writing. Whoever wrote it, I don't know anything about the developers. I know it is a small group, though. Whoever did the writing is just fantastic. Your character basically has amnesia, and not to spoil anything, but it's just a lot of inner turmoil. A lot of your abilities, your attributes are kind of connected to what your type of personality is and how you choose to develop that, what type of character you want to try and create, whether it's like an intelligence build, agility, strength. It's very interesting. It's, like I say, not everybody's cup of tea because, you know, not exactly any combat at all. It's more of the dialogue choices and what your strengths and weaknesses, how they attribute to that. And even with your weaknesses, when you do fail ability checks that are done within the dialogue, there's always awesome results. So even if you do fail something, it can lead into another interesting path that you didn't expect. Man, what else is to say? It's not the longest game, that's for sure. It doesn't have like a huge world to explore, but however, it is highly detailed. Everybody you talk to, every item that you pick up or journal, it's just oozing with life. And Disco Elysium is definitely up there if you're a fan of any Infinity Engine games, especially a game like Torment. So Disco Elysium, glad that they won as many awards as they did. These type of games definitely need to be promoted, so make sure to check it out. Okay, so coming in at number 4 is Borderlands 3. Now, a lot of people argue that Borderlands 3 didn't try to innovate enough, but I think that's one of why this game is so great too, is that they focused on what makes Borderlands great. And that's the content, the guns, the levels. The weapon design and the feel of the weapons is just so far ahead of Borderlands 2. I think that was the biggest thing that they really nailed. Every single gun, man, even Grays, I'm taking a look at, looking at the different parts that make them up, looking at the different designs between the different companies. Yeah, and the guns just feel good too. They all feel weighty. Even the lowly beginner guns, everything feels good. They've tightened up the shooting mechanics a lot. You know, all the legendaries that you pick up are super exciting. You find them throughout the game. It's not like a heavy, grindy live service game, and that's just what makes it so refreshing. A looter shooter that isn't a live service game, and you're finding awesome stuff as you go. Now, I would argue with anybody that says that the graphics aren't that much better than Borderlands 2. Yeah, right. No, the cell shading works very well in this. The graphics look way better. I think you have to kind of actually sit down and play it to understand it. I think the story is where it's the weakest. The villains, the twins, they're pretty. Yeah, there's a lot of cringe going on. So despite all the PR things that was happening with Gearbox, Randy Newman, all that stuff, I think this game needs to be recognized that it wasn't perverted with microtransactions, at least not yet. So I think that's a real testament to Gearbox, and good on them for not selling out Borderlands 3, because this game easily could have been destroyed with a lot of microtransactions and different currencies like that. But you'll have to excuse my footage on this, because this is actually from the DLC that came out recently. So, but still, base vanilla Borderlands 3. Don't miss it. Great game. Super happy with it, and I'm a bigger fan of the franchise because of it. Okay, so number 3. Yeah, by far, probably one of the biggest surprises for me, and a lot of people, was the Outer Worlds by Obsidian when that was announced. So created by some of the original game designers or directors, creators of the original Fallouts 1 and 2. These guys, Leonard Boyowski and, oh god, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember, but anyways, these guys are great. They know how to put good, solid, old school tabletop type of RPGs together. You know, important dialogue choices, different branching quest lines. It's a great game. It was so refreshing to see this after what a lot of us has been through with like Fallout 76, and I don't even want to mention that game. And just the grind of live service games, you know. So even though Outer Worlds, it's a shorter game, it's solid though. It's just, and even then when you do completing it, being able to complete it in, oh god, how long was the campaign? I couldn't even guess. You can actually get it done pretty quick if you don't focus on the side stuff. But as soon as you're done, then you want to play again, because you want to play again as a different build. Focus on and making different choices as well, just to see the different outcomes of the different ethical dilemmas that are imposed upon you. It's just great, and I think that's one of its best parts is they know you want to play this game with different types of builds. You know, are you a dumb character? Are you a smart character? Are you using different types of melee weapons? What type of melee weapons? One-hand, two-handed? What type of guns are you using? Rifles, handguns. So, you know, a lot of meat and potatoes as what you usually see in the other Fallout games and whatnot, but it's just very well executed. All the characters, I find their dialogues are very interesting. I actually want to listen to these characters. You know, some of the companions are okay. A few of them definitely stood out. Some of the other ones are a little bit more lackluster. But man, it's like I say, I think Outer Worlds just came at such a good time where people were just starved for a good kind of immersive single player game with actual RPG choices. So I think Outer Worlds, you know, even though it's not like a grand epic RPG, I think it's good soup for the soul. I think people were really starved for just having a nice, something Fallout-esque again, you know, like New Vegas. So cheers to Obsidian. This game definitely made my year. I would put it higher, but man, there's a couple other games that just really stood out, and I'm definitely looking forward to the Outer Worlds too. There's no doubt in my mind that that's happening, especially with the Obsidian working with Microsoft now to be able to get a fairly large budget to create a large world like that. So that's all speculation. Outer Worlds, go check it out. It's on Microsoft Game Pass, real cheap way to play it. Amazing game, probably one of my favorites. All right, at number 2, Sekiro. Man, what an amazing title. I know this game has been getting more than enough awards, but honestly, I've always been a fan of, you know, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, beat them all. Great games, super frustrating as hell. A lot of time. These games take me a long time to get through. I am, you know, not great at them, but that's part of the discipline of these games. And Sekiro is very much focused. Where Dark Souls series is, you know, there's a little bit of leeway as to how you want to play the game. You can get a little creative with your build. Sekiro is very focused. You are Sekiro. I don't know how to say it properly. And you know, you're wielding your katana. You're a shinobi. There's a certain way that you need to play this game. So if you're not able to adapt to how FromSoft wants you to play this character, you're going to get destroyed, and that's pretty obvious. So obviously a lot of pairing, a lot of timing to get down. And again, like traditional From Software games, there's all sorts of different items, NPCs hidden throughout that, you know, that you have to kind of figure out for yourself. And man, don't be afraid to load up a wiki. That like there's just certain moments where you might need the help. The bosses are definitely difficult, but like I say, once you figure out how you're supposed to play this character, that's when it really starts to come together. So there are certain bosses that, you know, I can spend an entire evening trying to take out, finish, and I found that by the time I did beat the bosses, especially the last boss, it just felt so well earned and deserved. I've never played a game where you're playing frustrating, super difficult bosses, but when you do beat them, you feel like you earned it. You played those systems. There's just such a fine line for error that you will get destroyed that you have to stay on top of your game. I've never had to focus so hard on certain bosses, even in all the Dark Souls games. I've never played Bloodborne, I should mention that. But in terms of 1, 2, and 3 for Dark Souls, I've just never felt such satisfaction of being able to overcome the combat system and take out certain bosses. Like it's just amazing. So really happy with Sekiro. I really hope that FromSoft does a second one. I want to say I like this over the Dark Souls series just for how focused the gameplay is. It just feels so well refined, and like I say, I've never felt such a sense of accomplishment in a video game when you finally take out some of the bosses in this game. Do not miss this. It takes a lot of patience and just understanding of how FromSoft wants you to play this character. Amazing title. I really hope they get a Sekiro 2. But nonetheless, I really am looking forward to Elden Ring. All right, and my #1 game of the year, and this came out close to the beginning of, I'm pretty sure first quarter of 2019. I could be wrong on that. I should have done a little bit more research. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Just awesome. Now, a lot of people were super stoked for this just because, you know, like myself, grew up on the original Resident Evils 1 and 2. I'll never forget when my dad rented Resident Evil 2 and we played it. I was probably way too young to play that game because it was frightening, man. But it just grabbed me. It was just so captivating. It just the idea of a game being a horror experience was just yeah, I just never had experienced anything. Not that I wasn't like super young. God, I must have been like 10 or 11 or something, but still I was freaked out by stuff like that anyways. So to be able to play it and to find out that there are some, you know, very light RPG elements, probably not RPG elements are the best way to say it, but just the inventory management, the map design, the puzzles, everything it was just so cool. So when we heard that Resident Evil 2 is being remade, what a fantastic setting. And especially after Resident Evil 7 just seemed to really redeem the series, get us away from like 6. 5 I enjoyed. 4 is obviously an amazing title, but it really took Resident Evil into the more action-orientated kind of video game genre. Now, everything just seems like it's kind of percolated together to create RE2. We're back to over the shoulder. You know, so in a sense, there is still an action component to it. However, the resource management is there. The horror vibe is there. It is so far beyond what, you know, what 4, 5, and 6 is about. Yeah, I just love it. Now I know some people argue the pacing is quite a bit different than the original RE2, and that I could definitely agree with. I mean, RE2, it's not like the best game ever made, definitely not. But for just a top-notch zombie shooter, getting back into the story of RE2, it was kind of, you know, when we were learning more about the Umbrella Corporation, you're getting the monsters like such iconic monsters like Lickers coming in, Mr. X, which is just, oh dude, so well done in this game. Yeah, RE2, just a game that I can keep coming back to and just been playing throughout the year, especially to finish up like Leon Campaign 1 and 2, Claire Campaign 1 and 2, all the extra DLC that comes and unlocks as you play this game. There's so much to do in this game. It's, yeah, just love it. There's so much that I'm missing too. There's so many items, weapons that I end up missing as I do a playthrough. So I am still learning a lot about this game, and it's definitely my go-to horror game when I'm just, you know, in that mood to play something spooky as fuck. Yeah, amazing title. Super happy that RE2 came out. I'm sure a lot of us that are fans of this are aware of RE3, so man, just so excited that Cap God is back, and they're doing some real good justice for Resident Evil. Love to see this franchise come back and just swinging like it is. I cannot wait for RE3. That's going to be an instant purchase. Man, Capcom has really come back with the Resident Evil franchise. Love it, love it, love it. Don't miss it. It's such a great game. Okay, so just a few honorary mentions. I did play a bunch of Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2, which I know didn't come out this year, but it did come out for PC, so it was my first go at it, and I just loved it. MechWarrior 5 was super nostalgic, really enjoyed that game, and as well as Monster Boy, a really great game as well. So a lot of good titles for 2019. As good as 2018 was, and as shiny as 2020 is going to be, there's some really big titles coming out that year. I still think 2019 was a great year for gaming. Some really good titles that I'm going to be going back to consistently, and yeah, can't wait for this year and some of the games coming out. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to let me know what you thought was your top 10 games for 2019 in the comments, and I'll catch you soon. Thanks for watching.